Hello, my name is Kevin Hicks, and welcome into today's edition of the Arizona State Sun Devils Insider Podcast. As I said, my name is Kevin. I am the lead beat writer for Arizona State Sun Devils on SI, and I am so grateful to be on this podcast and to give you the most informative, most engaging, hopefully most enjoyable content amongst the Arizona State media. There is some phenomenal media outside of SI, but I hope that I'm your go-to by the start of the season. And as you can see below me on the banner, please follow me if you get a chance at khicks_21 on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Um, I will be posting video content from practices and press conferences every single day, starting when summer practices are open once again to media. So that will be very enjoyable, and hope you follow along there as well. So today I wanted to talk about the football program again. We are now under 3 months away from the first game kicking off between ASU and NAU on August 30th. It will be a 7:30 kickoff, I believe. Let me check. Yes. It will be a 7:30 kickoff, and NAU, respectable FCS program. They pushed U of A to the brink last year. They lost 22-10 in that game. So they do have promise, but the talent gap, the speed gap, the coaching gap is just too much, and that should just be a tune-up game. Hopefully, we'll even get to see guys like Jason Brown Jr. at running back and possibly Noble Johnson at receiver, potentially even some freshmen in that game to get some less experienced guys reps. Um, that's a segue into the preseason top 25 rankings. This is around the time of year where they really start picking up. So first, I wanted to start with Brad Crawford of CBS Sports. So he did his preseason top 25 that was coinciding with his biggest need for every top 25 program to fulfill in the next 3 months. And he had Arizona State at number 17, which is a respectable ranking. They finished 8th last year in the final AP poll. But the caveat is that he has 3 Big 12 teams ranked over Arizona State. So he has Kansas State ranked 13, he has BYU ranked 14, and he has TCU ranked 15, and then ASU at 17. And finally, behind them, he has Texas Tech, Iowa State. Yep, Texas Tech and Iowa State behind them. So 6 Big 12 teams in the top 25. Let's get started off with that. That is very, very impressive, especially with the perceived dominance of the Big Ten and the SEC. That is a big deal for the conference that there are that many quality teams. After last year was considered kind of a down year for the conference, first year for 4 different programs, second year for 4 other programs. So that is massive to have that many top 25 caliber teams according to anyone. On the flip side, it just doesn't feel right that Arizona State is ranked as the 4th best team in the Big 12. Just off the surface of things, they deserve the benefit of the doubt as the reigning Big 12 champions to be considered the best team going into next season. That's not even looking at the facts of the roster makeup, of the coaching, of everything else going into the season. Obviously, we know they're returning close to 80% of starters on both sides of the ball. They will be restocked with players that have lots of experience, lots of talent, lots of speed. Most importantly, 2 players that will be likely high draft picks in the NFL draft come April. So that's already a lot to bank off of from the jump. Now let's look at coaching. Kenny Dillingham, likely the best coach in the Big 12. He has a phenomenal staff around him. Every single position feels like it's filled by a coach that is more than capable on the recruiting trail, more than capable in game, more than capable in practices. And the retention of OC Marcus Arroyo and DC Brian Ward couldn't be overstated in terms of his significance. So there you have that. And lastly, as I said, a lot of the time when you look at teams in the Big 12 that you might perceive to be on the same level as ASU, such as a Texas Tech or a Kansas State, the common denominator tends to be quarterback and receiver. And guess what? Arizona State has the best quarterback in the Big 12 in Sam Leavitt and the best receiver in the Big 12 in Jordan Tyson. That is likely going to be the big equalizer in a lot of games that may be considered toss-ups, may be considered 50-50s, may not be considered free wins for ASU. Personally, if you ask me, there aren't many free wins for Arizona State this year as it is, but when the talent gap isn't as big, when you're playing a team like Texas Tech, when you're playing a team like Baylor, when you're not playing a team like Houston, who could be better than expected, but likely won't hang with the Sun Devils, you're going to look at Tyson and Leavitt ultimately, and those two guys will more likely than not step up to the occasion and pull out a victory for Arizona State. So this is just projection right here, but they should not be the fourth ranked team in the Big 12. That just doesn't make much sense to me. Excuse me. Yeah, so I want to go to the ESPN FPI before we sign off today. So as most of you know, the ESPN FPI is a computer-based algorithm that ranks teams relative to the average FBS team statistically. So they have Arizona State coming in at number 24 going into the season, which is second in the Big 12 to Kansas State. Let's just give a brief rundown of what the numbers are looking like. So they have a 90% chance to finish with at least 6 wins. They have a 1.9% chance to finish the season 12-0, 13-0. They have a 16% chance to make it back to the college football playoff. They have a 13% chance to win the conference. And they have a 0.2% chance to win the national title. So that begs the question, should fans feel validated that the FPI model is giving the program more respect this year compared to last year? Or should fans feel slighted? Because if you take returning talent into account, if you take the top end talent into account, if you take coaching into account, everything that I said previously, feels like Arizona State should be around 15 at the absolute lowest, and possibly in the fringes of the top 10, maybe around 8, 9, or 10. That's just looking at things impartially. So should fans feel validated or disrespected? I'd say a mix of both, because I think that the vast majority of the nation is starting to catch wind to Arizona State being a legitimate program in terms of power brokerage in the college football landscape moving forward. I think that a lot of people recognize that Kenny Dillingham is building something that's very sustainable and successful. But at the same time, I think that too many people, too many computer models, whatever else, are banking on the loss of Cam Scadaboo sinking the team this season and keeping them from reaching 10 victories, all of that. And I just don't agree with it personally. I feel like Kanye Udo is absolutely destined for a great season. If you've read any of my work on him so far, I believe that the defense will be one of the 3 best units in the Big 12. I believe that Sam Leavitt will be in the Heisman conversation. There's just too many working pieces that are moving in favor of the program, and I'm going to stick to my gut and believe that the Sun Devils will be the front runners of the Big 12, starting with game 1 in the conference play against Baylor on September 20th. Expect that to be a massive, massive game for setting the tone, and I expect them to ultimately come out on top in that game. So that's all for today. Let me know your thoughts on this episode. Thank you so much for taking 10 minutes out of your day to listen to me once again. My name is Kevin Hicks. I am the lead beat writer for Arizona State on SI. And once again, follow me on X at khicks_21 if you get a minute to do so. Thank you so much for coming in today and watching me. See you tomorrow.